When wildfire tore through giant sequoia groves in the Sierra Nevada last year, researchers estimated hundreds of the towering trees, maybe 1,000, were killed. Now, almost 9 months later, experts have revised that figure tenfold. A new draft report puts the toll at 500 to 600 trees, 10% to 14% of the world's natural population. The whole thing is surprising and devastating and depressing, said Christy Bringham, Chief of Resources Management and Science at Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks and lead author of the report. The findings startled scientists because sequoias are adapted to thrive in fire, with bark that's up to 2 feet thick, branches that reach above flames and cones that release seeds when exposed to a burst of heat. Still, as the effects of human-caused climate change and aggressive fire suppression have combined to drive bigger, more intense wildfires, these ancient giants are increasingly no match for the conditions ecologists are seeing on the ground. They're one of the most fire-adapted species on Earth, and that is one way that this really is a warning sign much bigger than the trees themselves, Bringham said. If we're looking at forest fires that can now kill these old trees that have survived dozens, if not 100 or more previous wildfires, that's a very bad sign. The Castle Fire was one of hundreds sparked last August by a siege of dry lightning strikes that was bookended by a pair of historic heat waves. The fire burned through portions of about 20 giant sequoia groves on the western slopes of the Sierra, the only place on the planet they naturally grow. Bringham, with help from researchers at the U.S. Geological Survey, Forest Service and conservation group Save the Redwoods League, came up with the revised estimate of dead trees based on satellite imagery. The report is expected to be published this summer after it undergoes peer review. Now that the snow has thawed, teams of researchers are starting to go into the field to verify its findings. The mortality estimates focus on trees that had trunks of at least 4 feet in diameter, meaning they were at least 100 to 200 years old. Some that burned were much older, Bringham said. It's untold losses, she said. When I have walked in 2 of the high-severity burned groves, the groves that really burned hot, we see really large dead trees, trees that probably are 500 to 3,000 years old. A giant sequoia can survive a wildfire if just 5% of its crown remains unscorched. But the intensity of the Castle Fire caused some of the tree's crowns to combust on a scale researchers had never seen before. The first time we ever saw that was in 2015 in the Rough Fire, and it only happened to a very small number of trees, Bringham said. So this is a new, unprecedented fire effect. And severe, sequoia-destroying fires have been on the rise over the past decade, said Nate Stephenson, a research ecologist with the U.